the copyright stamp shows up in the left-hand corner of your television screen, but then the lights go out. Usually that means the show's over, but then the lights go out, and we have a Steve Jobs and one more thing moment. The type of moment that we used to get on every single NXT takeover. Ain't no question about who's in charge of the storytelling these days. Everybody starts putting up their phones, and the lights start shining everywhere. And then you hear this haunting version of, he's got the whole world in his hands. It's the song that we've heard Bray Wyatt sing so often. It's the song that we heard Bray Wyatt and the Children sing to John Cena. And spotlights start going through the arena. First, we see Huskus, the pig boy, in human form for the first time. Not a puppet. A human version of Huskus standing in the arena. Then the lights go off again. Then another spotlight comes on. And we see a human version of Mercy the Buzzard. Spotlight goes off again. Another spotlight comes on. Another part of the arena. Ramblin' Rabbit is there. A human version of Ramblin' Rabbit. Down goes the spotlight. Another spotlight. There's Abby the Witch. We go to the commentary table. The Fiend's burned mask is on the top of the table that Michael Cole and Corey Graves are still sitting at, and they dash out of there. They get that. What is that? They get out of there. They don't know how that got there. And then finally, the final spotlight comes on, and we see the Fiend. And the place goes nuts when we see the Fiend. But that wasn't the reveal. Because then we go to the video. We see a physical door that looks like a swamp door. That's what it looked like to me. And we go up to the Tron, and we see on the video, the Firefly Funhouse has been abandoned. Cobwebs everywhere. It's in disarray. Nobody has been in the Firefly Funhouse since last year's WrestleMania. And the TV comes on, and it's fuzzy and it's pixelated. But we see this kind of new character with a long gray face with facial hair, haunting. And then we come down, and the door opens. The physical door that's in the arena now opens, and a bright blue light shines through. Talk about something out of a film. A bright blue light is shining through as if we're looking into the abyss. And that's when we see that old Wyatt lantern. And we see a huge figure emerge from the door. He's holding that lantern. And it's a figure who has a new mask. It's the same mask that we had just seen on the television set. Don't know what the mask is. Don't know what the mask means. But this figure removes the mask. And we see that oh so familiar face. Not disguised by paint or latex or anything else. Just the flesh and bone of Bray Wyatt. The crowd goes nuts. Bray Wyatt looks at the camera and says, "I'm here," and blows out the lantern. We get the old Wyatt sound effect. And we see a logo that is looks like an upside down butterfly, Silence of the Lambs almost. A moth or something. With a face that looks like it could be the Fiend's face, but it's all scratched out. And we go to black. And we wonder what we just saw. Here's what I saw. I think that the human incarnations that we saw in the arena are very, very important to the story that's being told. Huskus, Mercy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Abby the Witch, and the Fiend. Now, what's very interesting is all four of these were puppets that were used by Bray Wyatt, who, when he got mad, would become the Fiend. But the Fiend has now been added to the ranks of these puppets. let's go over one more time, as we've gone over twice before on the podcast, who these puppets are. Because there is the thing where people go, well, there's a rumor that Bo Dallas is coming back, and he could be. And there's a rumor that Bray Wyatt's new faction will be human incarnations of these characters. And that's possible. But you have to understand that all of these characters already have a human. It's Bray Wyatt. Huskus the Pig is Bray Wyatt on the NXT game show, Husky Harris. Huskus the Pig is Husky Harris. Huskus the Pig wears a sweatband on his head and thinks, and he wears gym shorts. Huskus the Pig thinks that he's athletic because he works out, but there's chocolate all over his mouth and he's still so fat. This is the insecurity that Husky Harris lived with. Look at Husky Harris in the ring. He's incredibly athletic, but what do people see? Huskus, the pig boy. Mercy the buzzard. The reason he's a buzzard is because this is the first incarnation of Bray Wyatt. Follow the buzzards. This is Bray Wyatt coming out in the Hawaiian shirt. That's why Mercy wears that shirt. This is Bray Wyatt coming out in the hat. This is Bray Wyatt sitting in the rocking chair. Why is he called Mercy the buzzard? Because Bray's insecurity over the fact that the original Bray Wyatt character was very similar, I'll say, to the Waylon Mercy character played by Dan Spivey. Waylon Mercy was a Southern con man that was based off of Robert De Niro's character in Cape Fear. Bray Wyatt wants to be an original. He doesn't want to be a copy of something that came before. That's where Mercy comes in. So what does Bray do as a character? Well, he tries to get away from the traits of Waylon Mercy. Bray tries to get away from that and do his own thing, and he starts to tell these long-winded stories and these cut these promos that you can only really understand if you really listen to and dissect every word, and even then, you still might not really know what's going on. And people start to go, I don't know about this Bray Wyatt and his rambling promos. I don't know what he's talking about anymore. I don't even think he's talking about anything. What kind of promos were they? His rambling promos. Ramblin' Rabbit is that next incarnation of Bray Wyatt on the main roster, trying to take people on this journey that maybe a lot of people weren't ready to go on. And why? Well, in Bray's most insecure place, because he's the Ramblin' Rabbit. You know, we kept hearing about Sister Abigail, and we almost, thank God it was canceled at the last minute, but we almost got to a point where Bray Wyatt might portray Sister Abigail himself. That's kind of towards the end of the evolution of that version of Bray Wyatt. That's Abby the Witch. And what's the next incarnation of Bray Wyatt after that? Well, that's the Fiend. The Fiend is now on this list. The puppets, to me, were not just the insecurities of Bray Wyatt. Huskus, Mercy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Abby the Witch. Those are the ghosts of Bray Wyatt's past. Those are the ghosts that he leaves behind, but our ghosts follow us everywhere. So what I found really interesting is seeing the Fiend in the crowd with all those other entities that were once puppets, puts the Fiend on the list of the ghosts of Bray's past. The Fiend is now something that represents a part of Bray Wyatt that is no longer who he considers himself to be. So who does he consider himself to be? I don't know, but what I do know is that Bray Wyatt changed his Twitter name to Wyatt6 many, many months ago. Huskus, Mercy, Ramblin' Rabbit, Abby the Witch, and the Fiend make 5. Does Bray make 6? Is Wyatt6 the faction that Bray has built inside of his mind? Is Bray ultimately, as a human being, just an amalgamation of all the personalities he was in the past, combined with who he is today? Is that who this version of Bray Wyatt is? Is that the Wyatt 6? I don't know, but it makes sense to me. It's very compelling. Who knows what story we're telling with Bray right now? But what I do know is that this is clearly a coming of age of everything that Bray Wyatt has done to get him to the point that he is today.